Tonight on CTV News at 6, trade deal developments, hope for tariff relief, and for a cancelled Alberta pipeline. A Canada-U.S. agreement is close, though what we give and get remains to be seen.
The Prime Minister was very clear we needed to protect supply management.
Protecting problem gamblers in an expanding iGaming world.
I think the government needs to take more responsibility because, they've legalized more and more gambling.
And the impact the Edmonton Marathon's distance mismeasurement could have on its runners.
Edmonton Marathon needs to be better, and other marathons have the opportunity to learn from this mistake.
The warm temperatures are sticking around, but a little extra cloud cover tomorrow and chance of a shower or thunderstorm.
CTV Edmonton, local breaking news with Jeff Hastings.
Good evening. An agreement is in sight, but we're not there yet. Down to the wire, trade negotiations between Canada and the United States have almost resulted in a deal. Prime Minister Mark Carney isn't saying much. U.S. President Donald Trump is suggesting some tariffs on Canadian goods will go down in exchange for relief for American farmers.
It's going to be a wonderful deal, hopefully a wonderful deal for everybody.
Trump has delayed imposing new 50% tariffs on Canada for 3 days so the deal can be completed. Relief is rumored for Canadian steel and aluminum producers, though there's less optimism about a break for Canadian lumber and uncertainty for Canadian auto workers and American spirits producers. Trump also teased a move that could have a significant impact on our province. Joe Biden canceled the Keystone XL pipeline in 2021. It would have moved hundreds of thousands of barrels of oil a day from Alberta to Nebraska. As CTV's Tim Brooke reports, thanks to current trade talks, it may be back on the table.
The U.S. president wasn't saying much about the Keystone XL pipeline Wednesday.
We had a very good conversation with the Prime Minister last night, and we've come to a deal with Canada.
But Tuesday night on his Truth Social, Donald Trump hinted the project, killed by previous Democrat American administrations, could be back from the grave.
One of the best ways to deal with President Trump's aggression against the Canadian economy is to give him a win, which is also a win for Canada, and that would be a big pipeline going south.
When he was premier, Jason Kenney gave a loan guarantee and committed taxpayer equity to jumpstart XL construction. After the permit was revoked, it left Alberta taxpayers holding a $1.3 billion bag.
Ideally, I would have liked to see this done while I was premier, but you know what? We got a lot of it built. We paved the way. So let's build on that. Let's not just leave that pipe stuck in the ground. It's there. Let's finish the damn project.
The expansion would carry Canadian crude from Hardisty, Alberta to the Gulf Coast. Trump says he's always been on board.
And of course, we saw how the president was willing to invade, frankly, Venezuela over energy. So this has always been a priority.
And experts say the project should be relatively easy to bring online and fill. Some work has already started.
Southbow, which is the company that owns it now, has already entered into an agreement with the American company, Bridger, to revive it. They've already had what we call an open season, where producers contract out a portion of the pipeline. That was very successful, up to 550,000 barrels, and they plan a final investment decision next year.
If built, the Keystone expansion could potentially increase crude exports to the U.S. by more than 12%. Tim Brooke, CTV News, Calgary.
We'll have more on what U.S. and Canadian leaders have to say about the deal and reaction from industry later this hour. The provincial government will hear from Albertans tonight in the first of a series of feedback and information sessions about data centres. Connor Hogg is here now with more. Connor, why is the province putting on these town halls?
Jeff, the Ministry of Technology and Innovation says it knows Albertans want information about AI data centres, and they hope to provide answers. Technology Minister Nate Glubish will host the first town hall tonight in Lacombe. His ministry says along with providing information, he'll address concerns including impacts on Alberta's electricity system, water resources, land, and communities. People we spoke with who plan to attend say they have some tough questions for the province.
When the government is enabling projects like this, even if I heard a response to setbacks, to zoning, 2 land protections, 2 community protections. All of those tonight will be words. Until we see these changes brought to the legislature this fall, they're going to remain words.
Beck McIntosh with Little Town Big Data says she wants to see cumulative impact assessments and legislatively supported data center-specific regulations. Glubish will host another AI data center town hall tomorrow evening in Sturgeon County. Another will be held in Grand Prairie in September. Premier Danielle Smith will host a virtual town hall on the subject with Glubish later this month. Jeff?
All right, Connor, thank you. Connor Hogg live tonight. A 16-year-old boy is facing a second-degree murder charge in the shooting death of a teenage girl over the weekend. Early Sunday morning, police found a 16-year-old girl injured near 139th Avenue and 32nd Street. She died at the scene. Yesterday, police arrested a teenage boy and have now charged him with second-degree murder. An autopsy has confirmed the girl was shot to death. Police cannot identify the accused or the victim as they are both under 18. Police will not be allowed to march in this year's Edmonton Pride Parade after several organizations said they plan to boycott the event. Curtis Goodrum spoke with community members on why they're boycotting the parade.
Police will not be marching in the parade.
This statement comes after LGBTQ2S+ and BIPOC community members plan to boycott the parade. The groups say a police presence is a danger to the safety of their community.
Police support is one of the tools available to us, and we cannot knowingly remove a reasonable safety measure because it may be unpopular.
We're not going to be dragging our communities into spaces that are going to cause harm to them.
Rerica Now, a non-profit for LGBTQ2S+ refugees and newcomers to Canada, cut ties with the parade. Rerica made similar demands in 2018 and 2025. Members say any police at Pride is a danger to their community.
We hear what police has done for our communities, and we hear the lack of accountability towards our community members.
In order for them to return to the festival, they want no police presence at Pride at all.
Like no cops at Pride. That is one main thing we can't do it.
A law enforcement expert says respecting community is important, but not when it could put lives at risk.
The concerns at a Pride Parade are people that are anti-LGBTQ2S+ community people coming and creating a problem. And there could be violence there, and I think that's one of the roles of the police is to prevent that.
Community groups like Pride Corner have said traffic management should be done by volunteers. Criminologist Dan Jones says that's a bad idea.
Blocking traffic is a lot more difficult than people think it is because people have it in their mind that they want to go that direction, and that could lead to somebody being hurt on the road.
And we will not invite thousands of people to stand beside us without taking every reasonable precaution available to protect them.
The Pride Parade takes place this Saturday starting at 1 p.m. at Churchill Square, leading to Fan Park in the Ice District. Curtis Goodrum, CTV News, Edmonton.
City staff will spend the next year trying to measure the impact infill builds may have on nearby home values. The chair of Edmonton's Realtors Association says she already knows the answer. Jeremy Thompson reports.
This house in Holyrood is up for sale. A real estate listing says it's a renovated bungalow that's seen 2 price drops in 61 days on the market, a reduction of about 20 grand. City councillors want to know whether the new infill multiplex next door has anything to do with that.
We're all getting these questions. I'm getting these questions too about this supposed drop in home prices near infill.
Councillor Karen Principe convinced enough of her colleagues to tell city staff to look into it, though a city assessor told them it will be an imperfect report.
It's going to really depend on so many factors: the neighborhood, the subject property, what's next to it. Are we talking about a duplex next to it or an eightplex?
It's like if we asked for a report on the existence of God. It's like, well, some think this, some think this. We're not going to be able to tee it up, and we're not going to be able to answer the question.
People understand that it will be nuanced. However, it would be nice to see, as opposed to just the theoretical projections and data, to see the real hard data.
The city plans to use assessment values as the main data point to compare how home values have shifted because they, quote, reflect market value on a mass appraisal basis. Darlene Reed with the Realtors Association hopes the city will also consider sale prices.
We've offered, to assist the city in any way with any data we can provide them.
At the end of the day, a home is only worth what a buyer is willing to pay for it. And the only way you can find out what a buyer is willing to pay for a home is by looking at actual sold data.
While the city and council are searching for answers, Reid says for realtors, the verdict is already in.
If you are next to an infill home, your home value will be less than someone who has two single-family homes on either side of their home. And that's just common sense. Nobody wants to live next to a whole bunch of people.
The report is due back to council in about 1 year. Jeremy Thompson, CTV News, Edmonton.
The city and federal government are spending $2 million to keep affordable housing units on the market. The Edmonton Rental Protection Program will provide $20,000 grants for nonprofits to purchase property or renovate existing affordable housing. Savidia is one of the largest providers of affordable housing in Edmonton. It says it currently has a list of 10,000 families looking for homes. It says the program will help provide housing to some of those families and allow them to feel proud of where they live.
The opportunity to not only acquire an older property, but also to bring it up to current expectations and standards. And so it's a really good path forward in making best use of the properties that exist already. Developing from new is the most expensive way to create affordable housing. And so this is a far more affordable from a taxpayer perspective.
Applications are now open on the City of Edmonton website. An Edmonton City Councillor is supporting a petition to bring a professional women's soccer team to our city. The Northern Super League is the first professional women's league in Canada. It's currently made up of 7 teams, including Calgary and Vancouver. Last month, Winnipeg was added. A NSL petition hopes to show that Edmonton is also a viable market. Councillor Tu Parmar is throwing her support behind the petition. She says Winnipeg's petition garnered 3,000 signatures. Those were used to build a ticket-buying base.
So this to me is really exciting to see women in sports. I often say you can't be what you can't see, and so that's really important to me.
Parmar says she believes there is momentum following Edmonton's positive response to both women's sports and soccer events earlier this year. Oilers captain Connor McDavid has become the best hockey player in the virtual world. Electronic Arts says McDavid has a top rating of 99 in NHL 27. The company says he's the first and only member of its newly created 99 club. EA Sports says the rating is based on McDavid's real-world dominance. While McDavid is number 1, his teammate Leon Draisaitl isn't far back at 4th with a 96 rating. NHL 27 comes out September the 11th. The real Oilers hit the ice September 19th in a preseason home game against Winnipeg. Still a bit too early to be talking about hockey, I think, Josh.
Today, summer is over, isn't it?
No, it's not. Today was glorious. It was great.
Weather-wise, summer has just begun is the way a lot of people are thinking about it. That's like a month away, hockey season. 23 degrees outside right now. We'll get to 26 for a daytime high today. It was a little gusty at times this afternoon. That wind has started to die down, and it'll continue to ease through the rest of this evening. 26 is the warmest we've been since the first of the month. It's also the first time since August 1st that we've been above 25. Should see a few more of those high 20s days on the way through the end of the week, although maybe not tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to be about 24 or 25 as we have some extra cloud cover in the forecast and a chance of some showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon and early evening. Today, you've had a few scattered showers there in the northeast. For the Edmonton region, it was bright blue skies for most of the day, and then in the last hour or so, we've had this little pocket of cloud cover dropping in from the north. No rain from those clouds, and they will clear out through the evening hours. Then tomorrow morning, we'll get some increasing cloud once again. 13 degrees to start the day, about 22 by lunchtime, and then mostly cloudy to a mix of sun and cloud in the afternoon, and about 24 or 25 for a daytime high. Chance of showers, best bet somewhere around supper time. We'll take a closer look at that with Futurecast. More on your 5 and 10-day forecast as well later in the newscast.
Sounds good. Thank you, Josh. Still ahead, foreign actors taking note of Alberta separatist sentiment.
Their goal is to have us start to turn on each other.
New research into foreign campaigns ramping up to boost disinformation ahead of October's referendum. Also ahead.
The real issue is that they're making iGambling a lot easier.
A look at the safeguards meant to protect people with gambling addictions and whether they go far enough.
Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
Canadian researchers say the Alberta separation debate has become a prime target for foreign interference. Research tracking the discussion finds Russian and American campaigns are trying to stoke division. CTV's Jordan Canagan has more and response from the Premier.
2 months ahead of a referendum on whether to explore Alberta separation, the debate has gone far beyond Canadian borders.
Well, it's very clear that there is foreign interference.
Researchers at the University of Regina are using artificial intelligence to scan and analyze thousands of websites and social media, specifically tracking the separation debate. They found Russian-based sites attempting to shape the narrative.
Their goal is to have us start to turn on each other, is to no longer see someone who disagrees with you as someone who has a different opinion, who still cares about the country, but is actually an enemy of the country and is no longer, is sort of anti-Canadian.
Cypher AI found American influence is also present in the debate, trying to fuel disagreement ahead of the October 19th vote.
Some people pretend to be part of grassroots movements and they try to promote certain issues, but in reality, they actually belong either to a nation state or some groups that have some kind of invested interest in creating divisions.
Alberta's Premier says she's been briefed by both CSIS and the RCMP, and there's been nothing criminal so far, but, quote, we are seeing influence campaigns that appear to be amplified by bot farms that may have a link to Russia. Smith told Omni TV Albertans need to be vigilant so that they're not inadvertently amplifying a message that is being used to interfere in our contest.
And so our effort is basically to identify and point that out in the sort of narratives and even the sources of those in order to be able to ensure that Canadians can have difficult conversations and that democratic dialogue.
Jordan Canagan, CTV News, Calgary.
Elections Alberta says it's received more than 130,000 special ballot requests for the October referendum. Nearly 60,000 special ballots were requested for the 2023 provincial election. About 29,000 were requested in 2019. Special ballots allow you to vote by mail if you're not here during the advance voting period or on referendum day. Elections Alberta also says it's about halfway to its goal of 600,000 applicants to work the referendum. Referendum day is October 19th. Some Albertans are calling on the provincial government to better protect people with gambling addictions. While there are some safeguards already in place, critics say more are needed. Evan Kenny reports.
Gambling commercials like this one trigger Leif Gregerson. For years, he's been recovering from a gambling addiction.
People view it differently as other vices, really. And I do consider gambling to be a vice.
He wants to see Alberta's government do more to protect vulnerable people like him.
They have detox centers where people can go and get off drugs and alcohol. And it would be really good if there was something that was more available where people could do this type of gambling detox.
Alberta currently has a self-exclusion program. People voluntarily sign up and ban themselves from in-person and online gambling.
It aligned with the minister's request to ensure that there was one click of a button for Albertans to self-exclude from gaming in the province, and we certainly have provided that.
After hitting the sign up button on the self-exclusion website, it asks what you want to be excluded from and for how long. Alberta Gaming, Liquor and Cannabis says 600 people have registered for the program since iGaming legislation came into effect in July.
It's a good start, but let's not miss, the real issue here. The real issue is that they're making iGambling a lot easier.
This University of Alberta professor and emergency doctor says more safeguards need to be put in place. He wants to see the province spend more money helping people.
They say they're setting aside 1%. That's going to make no difference. It's got to be a number that is in relationship to the problem that it's actually causing. So 10% would be a good number.
I think the government needs to take more responsibility because, they've legalized more and more gambling. And they're always taking their cut, but they're not paying back into the damage it causes.
The self-exclusion program can last up to 3 years. AGLC says it would consider a lifetime self-exclusion in the future. Some professional supports are also available through the program. Evan Kenny, CTV News, Edmonton.
An American tourist who had an encounter with a bear in Banff while her dog was off-leash will have to pay a fine. Brooke Koski pleaded guilty to having dogs off-leash in the national park. The video of his encounter with a grizzly was posted a month ago. Both prosecution and defense made a joint submission for a $1,500 fine, which was accepted by the justice in Canmore. He agreed Koski had a lapse in judgment and had no intention of harming wildlife. Still ahead, the impact of a marathon mistake.
I'm not saying you took away Boston, but traditionally, the odds were really good.
Some runners say they've fallen short of goals or records due to a course miscalculation. Also next.
When you're walking him and there's a noise on that side, he'll jump towards you sometimes and get scared. But racing-wise, he don't care.
A racehorse preparing for the Canadian Derby has his eye on the prize.
The weather looks great for the Canadian Derby, and really for most of the next 4 to 7 days, above average temperatures, just a chance of some showers and thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon to talk about. We'll do that right after the break.
Brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
Runners who participated in the Edmonton Marathon with specific goals in mind say a mistake leading to a longer course could cost them. Days after the race, organizers admit the course was more than half a kilometer longer than it should have been. CTV's Miriam Valdez-Carletti reports.
Getting a chance to cross the finish line at the Boston Marathon is a dream for many elite runners. Because of the mismeasured course at the Edmonton Marathon, that dream is unlikely to become a reality for this year's participants.
I ended up running slower because I lost focus. I couldn't figure out what was wrong. Was it me?
I've been running long enough to where I can tell when something like that is off.
At first, the Edmonton Marathon defended its course, only to admit its mistake and apologize on Tuesday.
I know I'm glad, and I'm sure a lot of the other runners are glad to see that they finally accepted that.
The Edmonton Marathon says additional distance was added for this Wellington Bridge construction detour. After review, it says while it adjusted the turnaround point, that didn't fully account for the addition. That resulted in participants running over a half-kilometer extra. Runners looking to qualify for the Boston Marathon must meet qualifying times based on their gender and age. A longer course in Edmonton makes that harder.
It wasn't a guarantee. I'm not saying you took away Boston, but traditionally, the odds were really good.
The Boston Athletic Association says it relies on race organizers to uphold the integrity of their results, certified course, and distance, adding the BAA cannot accept adjusted results if the distance was over or under 26.2 miles, or adjust results if participants went off course. Women's half marathon winner Jaden Keeler was close to breaking a Canadian record.
We can never know for sure now that it's in the past, but It definitely dampened the moment a little bit.
Some runners are unsure if they'll return to the Edmonton Marathon next year.
Edmonton Marathon needs to be better, and other marathons have the opportunity to learn from this mistake.
Today, Athletics Canada said mistakes do happen, but it will conduct internal reviews to minimize errors in the future. Miriam Valdez-Carletti, CTV News, Edmonton.
Edmonton is getting ready for a horse race. The 97th running of the Canadian Derby is this weekend at the Century Mile Racetrack just south of the city. It's the biggest event in Western Canadian horse racing. People associate the Derby with food and fashion, but horses like Javier are the real stars of the show. The 3-year-old gelding was born blind in one eye. That doesn't appear to be an issue since he's already won 3 out of 5 races.
He was born like that. He don't know no different. So the only thing, like when you're walking him, and there's a noise on that side, he'll jump towards you sometimes and get scared. But racing-wise, he don't care.
You can watch Javier and the other competitors run the Derby Saturday. The races start at 2:45. The gates open at 1 o'clock.
Bring a fan to go along with your fascinator.
Sunscreen and Don't forget the Fascinator. Yeah. Do you have yours out of storage?
It's gonna be hot. Okay. Oh no, I don't. That thing doesn't go into storage. That comes out every weekend. Take a look outside right now. River Valley Sky Cap, 23 degrees and a bit of cloud cover sliding through parts of the city. We'll show you that on the satellite map. Today's daytime highs, wow, this was actually a 25.7, so you can round that up. Sometimes our automated system doesn't do the roundups with the tenths of a degree. 25 in Fort McMurray, 28 in Jasper, and 25 in Red Deer for daytime highs today. There's your satellite and radar map. You got a bit of cloud cover here across the south. We'll watch this area, especially just off to the east, southeast of Calgary, for the potential for some showers and thunderstorms here later on this evening. We've got some scattered showers in the northeast, just kind of slipping past Fort McMurray area, now off to the south of Fort McMurray. Another little splotch there that probably dies out in the next little bit. There's your clouds in Edmonton. No precipitation, although you might not be able to see it because radar west of the city is still out. Hopefully it's back tomorrow because things could get a little more active tomorrow afternoon. We'll start tomorrow morning. Oh, there's your chance of showers east, northeast of Calgary overnight tonight. We'll start tomorrow with some heavier cloud cover and some showers, maybe even some morning thunderstorms in through the northwest. As that front slips off to the south, you get some widely scattered, very isolated showers and thunderstorms north, south of Edmonton. I'm not saying there's nothing in the Edmonton area mid-afternoon, but the most likely time will be somewhere around 5-6 p.m. in the Edmonton area. And then as we head through the evening, best chance is going to be further to the south. In fact, we'll have to watch from Red Deer south towards Calgary for the potential for some severe thunderstorms tomorrow evening. Friday, look at that, back to sunshine and temperatures up to about 27, maybe even 28 for a daytime high. It's 21 in Fort McMurray right now, 28 currently in Jasper, 23 here in Edmonton, as temperatures have dropped a couple of degrees from our daytime high of 26 earlier today. We'll still be around 20 mid-evening, get some clearing through the evening hours, and then increasing cloud tomorrow morning. I think partly cloudy to start. Mostly cloudy to a mix of sun and cloud in the afternoon. High of about 25 tomorrow afternoon. And then a chance of that shower or thunderstorm, especially in that late afternoon, early evening time frame. The Power Play and 75K VIP prize deadline is midnight Friday. Support the Stollery Children's Hospital Foundation. Get your tickets in the Mighty Millions Lottery. You could win 2 lower bowl season seats to the Oilers and $75,000. You're also in for all the other prizes, including the grand prize. Go to MightyMillionsLottery.com. Mid-20s tomorrow, high 20s Friday, Saturday. Good chance at hitting 30 on Saturday, and more sun than cloud for both of these days. Sunday we'll get some increase in cloud, chance of some showers, maybe even a thunderstorm there. More like the evening hours on Sunday. Still in the mid-20s out ahead of that, and then about 22, maybe 23 for Monday. Long-range forecast, temperatures have been kind of flip-flopping from low to mid-20s to mid to high 20s in the outlook. So we're going to settle in somewhere around the mid-20s here currently for our outlook for next week. And aside from a couple isolated showers or thunderstorms potentially, I think most of next week looks pretty dry and a good amount of sunshine to go along with those warm temperatures.
Thank you, Josh. Still to come on CTV News at 6, more on the Canada-U.S. trade deal on the verge of being signed.
Our farmers were paying tremendous tariffs into Canada, and those tariffs are going to be totally eviscerated, down to zero.
What are Donald Trump and Mark Carney on the verge of agreeing to? And a new personalized vaccine shows promise against the deadliest form of skin cancer.
Programming brought to you by Century Casino. 3 great locations: Edmonton, St. Albert, and Century Mile.
Canada and the U.S. have struck a last-minute deal to pause new 50% tariffs, though it's unclear what has been agreed to. While Donald Trump is boasting about it, Prime Minister Mark Carney will only say the agreement reinforces the Canadian advantage. CTV's Michael Couture has the latest from Washington.
After an intense week of negotiations, Canada-U.S. Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc and his American counterpart emerged shoulder to shoulder, happy with the deal they've reached.
We've reached an agreement that will not only continue to protect American workers, American jobs, American supply chains, but really strengthen the North American economy and create a situation where North America will continue to be an energy powerhouse.
Three sources tell CTV News there are reductions in the Section 232 tariffs on the table as part of the agreement. Those would affect industries like steel and aluminum.
We may bring some of the tariffs down to a level where other countries are, because Canada was paying a higher tariff.
U.S. President Donald Trump proudly posted about the agreement, adding this AI image about the resurrection of the Keystone XL pipeline. Trump has also long complained about American access to Canada's supply-managed dairy sector.
The tariffs will be non-existent for our farmers. Our farmers were paying tremendous tariffs into Canada, and those tariffs are going to be totally eviscerated, down to zero.
LeBlanc tried to reassure reporters that the decades-old system isn't disappearing.
The Prime Minister was very clear. We needed to protect supply management. We needed to ensure that the supply management regime remained entirely intact. And I'm confident that that's the case.
The Prime Minister was less clear on social media, posting that the deal is, quote, securing the best terms in each of Canada's most important strategic sectors and providing greater certainty about our future trading relationship. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre says he hopes Carney stuck to his word.
That's what he promised, an even better deal than we had before. To me, that should mean no tariffs on steel, aluminum, autos, lumber, and an exemption to Buy America.
While few details have been made public, Dominic LeBlanc has returned to Ottawa, and the Prime Minister is briefing his cabinet as well as the premiers this afternoon. Mike Lecouteur, CTV News, Washington.
With the President and Prime Minister saying a deal is on the horizon, what one industry considers a win could be seen as a loss to another. CTV's Judy Trin has more on the trepidation ahead of the new Friday deadline.
Our farmers are going to be thrilled. Our manufacturers are going to be thrilled. And basically, we have no tariffs going into Canada.
There's no doubt Donald Trump likes to win, prompting Canadians to wonder what they could lose. Giving Americans bigger quotas of milk and cheese could chip away at protections for Canada's 9,000 dairy farms.
It will become irrelevant because there will be so much milk entering from every other country that supply management will no longer work. So it's our worry right now.
We are asking the federal government to work for a reduction of the tariffs that are being applied, and we also avoid any new tariffs and also make sure that there is a review.
There are some signs tariffs on automobiles could be reduced. Auto parts manufacturers are hoping the U.S. understands that cars partly made in Canada are de facto American vehicles.
And remind the Americans that a General Motors pickup truck in Oshawa with 50% U.S. content and 60% U.S. steel in it is as much an American car as the one that's made in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And they're just shooting themselves in the foot.
Singular bow. Meanwhile, small businesses like Victoire Boutique, which sells Canadian-made jewelry and clothes to American customers online, are breathing a sigh of relief. It appears a deal may stave off Trump's new 50% tariffs on $28 billion of Canadian goods.
We want to support our industry. We want to make things easier for our customers and not fall into the trap of thinking this is a normal way of operating.
Right now, there's cautious optimism, but until Friday's deadline passes and there's a signed document, there won't be any certainty. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
Israel's military has launched its first criminal investigations into troop conduct in the war with Hamas. The focus is on the 2024 killings of a 5-year-old girl and her family in the Gaza Strip and the deaths of 15 Palestinian paramedics last year. Today, medics in the occupied territory said an Israeli airstrike killed 9 Palestinians at a police station. Several officers were among the casualties. 15 people were injured. Earlier in the day, medics say a separate airstrike killed 1 Palestinian at a refugee camp in the central part of the Gaza Strip. Israel says the attack targeted a Hamas militant. A new personalized cancer vaccine could offer a new way to fight melanoma, the deadliest form of skin cancer. Moderna and Merck are developing the treatment together. It relies on mRNA technology, the same technology used in COVID vaccines. The shots are designed based on each patient's tumor. They teach the immune system to recognize the unique genetic fingerprint of the patient's cancer. Companies say when paired with existing immunotherapy, the new vaccine treatment helped reduce the risk of cancer returning or spreading further. They plan to present the full study results at an upcoming international medical meeting. There's no timeline on applying for regulator approval. Still ahead, everyday North Americans weigh in on a potential trade deal.
We can get some middle term to end this battle.
Heard from the politicians and the pundits what the people have to say. Next, also ahead.
Have you anything better to give our people?
A recreation of the signing of Treaty 6 150 years later.
CPKC Women's Open will open up play Thursday morning. Plus, as many companies encourage AI use, what problems can employees face with hiring, privacy, and liability?
Checking on the markets, the Canadian dollar is up, trading for over 72 cents U.S. Oil up 33 cents, now around $84 a barrel. Gold saw a $124 increase. On the stock market, the TSX is up 33 points, the Dow Jones 119. With the new Canada-U.S. trade deal deadline, it's not just the politicians and pundits who have strong opinions. Everyday Canadians and Americans will be the ones impacted, and they have plenty of thoughts on the trade war. CTV's Heather Wright headed to the border for a sampling.
More than 20 million people visit Niagara Falls every year. Tourists from around the world, as well as those from the two countries that share this landmark. So we stood on a corner in the tourist area, and it didn't take long to find Canadians and Americans with opinions on this trade war and the possible deal to end it.
I think the whole thing's kind of ridiculous. Like, we should have a good relationship with Canada.
There was skepticism among many, not just about whether this deal will get done, but also whether U.S. President Donald Trump won't change his mind down the road.
He, goes one way one day, and then, 3 weeks later he goes, oh, well, that was the worst deal ever, and, so who knows what's going to happen.
With the cost of living high in both countries, some are hopeful a deal will ease at least some pressure on finances.
I mean, the price of everything has gone up, so yeah, we definitely would prefer if our government made some different choices.
And while some believe concessions are necessary,
we can get some middle term to end this battle.
Others want Canada to hold strong and not bow to unreasonable demands.
If it doesn't work for both of us, then let's not do it. We don't want to play this administration's game.
Elizabeth Wennick is worried that a deal could allow more products, some produced with lower standards, into this country.
We need to stand firm on all of our standards and keep them high.
And while a deal seems imminent, there are many Canadians here who would be fine if the government kept fighting to stand up for Canada's interests.
We can do better. We're Canadians. We have more power than we actually use.
For John Dickinson, he's just tired of the whole fight.
How about we just play like nice children in the sandbox instead of, well, I'm bigger than you and I'm just going to bully you. And that's all it is.
And while there is hope that this trade war will soon be over, many acknowledge that it's unlikely the tension between the two countries will end overnight. Heather Wright, CTV News, Niagara Falls, Ontario.
Former engineering director at Meta says CEO Mark Zuckerberg created a culture that may have led the company to shirk its responsibility in protecting children. The former Meta employee testified in court that Zuckerberg was closely involved in all decision-making. He was the first witness in a case where 29 states are accusing the company of designing its platforms to addict young users and illegally collect data from kids under 13. Meta denies the allegations and says the former employee's opinions are beyond the scope of his work. This week marks the 150th anniversary of Treaty 6. A reenactment of the treaty signing was held today at Fort Edmonton Park.
I feel and think intensely the sorrow my people have endured. Have you anything better to give our people?
The dramatization also portrayed some of the negotiations that took place around the agreement. First Nations leaders and British Crown representatives signed Treaty 6 August 23, 1876 at Fort Carleton near present-day Prince Albert, Saskatchewan. Indigenous signatories agreed to share land and resources with settlers in exchange for provisions such as education, healthcare, and reserve lands. The treaty covers more than 300,000 square kilometers of the Canadian prairies and includes major cities such as Edmonton and Saskatoon.
It's recognizing what our grandfathers wanted for us to continue with being on a shared land. I'm proud to come and share the celebration.
A commemorative powwow is happening tomorrow at Enoch Cree Nation. The high-level bridge will be illuminated for Treaty 6 Recognition Day on Sunday night. Coming up, an Alberta teen's wide-ranging talent.
Some skills that I gained from dance helped me in like hurdles, and then some skills that I learned from hurdles helped me in dance.
We've got another great night of entertainment coming up right here on CTV.
An Alberta athlete is showing off his skills on the track and in the ballroom. He's representing Canada on the world stage in two very different disciplines. Kevin Fleming explains.
He's been on the dance floor since he was 6 years old, competing in ballroom dance. Now Patrick Bushko is a 9-time Canadian national champion at 18, and he enjoys being on stage and in the spotlight.
The ooey gooey feeling inside when you're about to compete, and it's just like the engine ready to go and turn on and just be able to, like, I guess, make people happy.
Michael Radko coaches Patrick and his new partner Mariana Ravello in a number of disciplines in the sport.
It's a ballroom and Latin. These are like two divisions. So Latin dances and ballroom. Ballroom waltz, tango waltz, Venus waltz, foxtrot. Latin dances such as cha-cha-cha, rumba, samba, jive, paso doble, and I think Patrick's favorite dance is samba. Same as mine.
Patrick was looking for a way to build strength and turned to track and field, and his coach put him in hurdles where he excelled.
I'd get my conditioning and then I'd get my dancing in, but then they'd both complement each other because some skills that I gained from dance helped me in hurdles, and then some skills that I learned from hurdles helped me in dance.
After only about a year in the sport, Patrick headed to Eugene, Oregon earlier this summer for the World Athletics U20 Championships, where he won silver.
I don't think I've ever seen an athlete be quite that elastic, quite so snappy. So I do think there's a genetic component to that, but also what he's developed through his dance.
Denny Marlin says Patrick is calm entering a race and not nervous, likely because of his time in the spotlight dancing.
I think with the tools that he's developed in this space with the dancing, as well as what he started to learn through track, if he stays committed to that path, I can see big things happening for him.
Both coaches say Patrick's commitment is impressive and he's always striving to be better. Kevin Fleming, CTV News, Calgary.
Another warm one tomorrow. We get to 26 for a high today, 24 or 25 tomorrow. Be a little extra cloud cover. And as we head through the late afternoon, early evening hours, chance of a isolated shower or thunderstorm in the area. 27 for Friday, few clouds in the morning, but sunshine for most of the day. Saturday, sunny with a few clouds, close to 30 on Saturday, and then chance of some late day showers or thunderstorms Sunday, back to about 25 for a daytime high. Next week, low to mid 20s for most of the week.
Seems reasonable.
Yeah, for late August, that seems more than reasonable.
All right, thanks, Josh. Thank you for sharing your time with us. Have a great evening, everyone.